Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Michelle's Makeup Vanity. I'm Michelle, and I decided to start this YouTube channel because I love makeup. So I decided to start with all of my favorites, and the rest of my episodes will be just trying to beat those favorites. So let's get into a full face and have some fun today. Nice to meet you. I'm going to start off with my very favorite sunscreen. I've had melanoma before, so sunscreen is serious business for me. And this is my current favorite. It feels more like a serum going on. And it has a light scent, but I am definitely a smell person. I love good smells, good perfume. This brings joy to my life. So we'll let that be sinking in. I'm going to start with eyes. I'm a lash artist because my lashes are blonde and short and sparse, and so I have on lash extensions. But we'll start with the eye base, and I like this Langmani, and I think it's referred to as a makeup, but I use it kind of as an eyelid primer, and I like shade number 2. I accidentally ordered shade 3 one time, and it was way too orange. Tossed it straight in the trash can. Now I wish I had kept it so I could show it to you. You can get this on Amazon or Temu if you choose to do that. It's a lot cheaper. I like it because it's pretty thick. It hides, I have some discoloration, some veins showing through. I am almost 54. Got lots of sunburns as a child, and since I have so much space between my eye and my brow, I got lots of burns on my eyelid even as a child. Not my mother's fault, you know, sunscreen wasn't a big thing until I was like in high school. Okay, so we have our eyelids ready for some eyeshadow. Before I do eyeshadow, I'm going to go ahead and do some primer, like this NYX Plump Right Back. Yes, it's plumping, but it also has some grip to it. I love that. When I do work at the salon, I need my makeup to look nice. Kind of be scary to go to somebody whose makeup was all wearing off, you know. I'm also a makeup artist. I do weddings and special events, proms, things like that. So I've got to have my makeup last too. Okay, so now I feel good and plump. And now we're ready to do some eyeshadow. And I love the palettes by Alter Ego. This one is a new one called Daylight. I think it's supposed to be comparable to the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude. I only have one Natasha Denona palette, the real one, because I have an older daughter. My oldest daughter, I have 2 daughters. My oldest daughter really loves makeup, just like I do. So does my baby girl, but she's busy with a newborn right now. But my oldest daughter loves to gift really nice makeup to me. And so I feel like a kid at Christmas when I open her Christmas presents. All right, so I like to start with just a light color all over the lid. One that is my lid color, kind of. I went with this first one right here. And as far as brushes go, the one I'm using right at this moment is by Profusion. Got it in a kit at Walmart. I plan on doing a video all about brush dupes because you do not have to spend exorbitant amounts of money. I'm also a retired elementary school teacher on a pension. So I do have the travel set of Angie Hot and Flashy just because my oldest daughter got that for me for Christmas. And it is really nice. And I'm not telling you not to get those, but you do not have to get those. you can do just fine. Things that are a lot more affordable. So I'm putting this basically in the crease, and this is the shade called the Path. It is kind of like very light taupe. Because I had so many sunburns as a kid on my lids look like wrinkled up potato chip bags. They do. But I do not let that stop me from wearing my eyeshadow. It's fun. I also like a little sparkle. Just because you're more experienced, have more experienced skin does not mean you can't sparkle. That's another thing I want to talk about. Why do they say mature skin? My skin has been mature since I made it past puberty. Yeah, our skin, I like to think of it as some skin has had more experience than others. Some have had more experience with, exposure to the sun. In the outer corner, I like to take a little bit darker color. I do have some crow's feet going on too. So as far as creating, like a winged liner look, we can still do that. Or folks with some folds in the corners where our crow's feet are, we can still get away with it if we make that corner just a little bit darker. Kind of camouflages the folds. Sounds like an accordion. I think I have about 3 folds going on there. I'll probably have more if I'm lucky. I'll get this in the outer corner. And I'm not worried right now about what that edge looks like. I'm going to clean that up in a moment on both sides. And I love these shadow switchers. You can, after you've used it for a while, you can pull out the sponge, but be careful because there's going to be a lot of stuff in the bottom of your pan. And you can rinse it out, start fresh. Okay, so let's talk about this sparkle now. I like to put one right in the center, and I do like to use my finger for that. I find that when I just pull it across with a little drag, that it gets on there better than any brush that I could use. And if I goof on the edges or go up too far, I can fix that and blend it in later. Also, you probably won't ever see me with fancy fingernails. I play the violin. And when I taught school and people were looking at my hands a lot all day, I did get my nails done. But now that I play the violin, which I started during the pandemic, and I've been at it for almost 4 years, and I love it. It's worth so much more to me than wearing fake nails. I've even tried super duper short ones, and they still click. So, and I have bitten my fingernails since I was a little kid. My dad came in one day and talked about how he needed to just get rid of that bad habit, but I didn't hear the bad habit part. I just heard, oh, my dad, he bites his fingernails. I think I'll try that too. And now it's just a nervous tendency. My hands make it up to my mouth before I even think about it. So I'm kind of a germaphobe and keep them really super clean. All right. And I keep rubbing things off. Some people keep a towel, but I'm all about baby wipes. I'm going to do a little bit of blending. And I love these little pencil brushes to go right around, right underneath the lower lid. I'm using one of the darker sparkly shades at the bottom, the one right in the middle. I love to kind of tie that over with the corner right to the edge and just pull it over. Now before I do some mascara on my bottom lashes, you see, I need it. Some people are like, oh, you don't need mascara on your bottom lashes. Well, if they're invisible, you kind of do. So I'm going to clean up the edges. I'm going to use a Q-tip. Sometimes I like to use the pointed Q-tips. Today I'm just using a regular one and some eye makeup remover by Simple. Kind of similar to micellar water. I like to just pull it straight across. And the other side. And then kind of make sure that both sides match. And one mascara that I'm really enjoying right now is by Essence by Panda Eyes No Smudge Mascara. The brush is kind of big for lower lashes, but it's working for me right now. So you see, I do have some lashes down there. They're just completely invisible. I accidentally hit my top. There we go. Now I have some lower lashes. Okay, now I'm going to do some eyeliner. If you'll notice, I have unevenly hooded eyes. One eye is a lot more hooded than the other. So if I were to do, and I do feel like I still need eyeliner on top to kind of smooth the edge so you can't, it's not as obvious, my extensions aren't as obvious. So as a makeup artist, we use nothing but gel pot liner. And this one is by Rimmel. The reason that they tell us that is because it really lasts. So I like to rest my elbow on my vanity. So now you can see when I do this eye first, since it's the most hooded, it becomes very, very obvious that the other side is not as hooded. So what I have to do is actually line this eye a little bit more than the other eye. I know a lot of hooded eye tutorials, especially ones with when the person, the girl or gal or guy doing it doesn't have hooded eyes and they're trying to explain to you how to do it. You really get a lot better at it when you own the hooded eyes. And I'm sure they can do, if they're makeup artists, they can do other people who have hooded eyes. But just know that whatever you do to one side may not work on the other. We're working for symmetry. You also do not have to have a very expensive gel pot liner. When I'm using this on clients, I dip out some and put it on a palette to keep it nice and sanitary. It comes in very handy to be kind of germophobic when you're a makeup person because that's to the benefit of your client. So you can see this is a much thicker line that I'm doing on this side. And you may say, oh, but you're losing lid space. Well, yeah, but I don't have any on the other at all. You can take it away, but you can't create it where it's not there. So you have to learn tricks, which is why I started this channel. When I do makeup for events, I do advertise that, look, I have more experienced skin, so I can handle the mothers and grandmothers of the bride and groom and matrons of honor and maids too and brides. Okay, so then I look, and now it's not as obvious that one eye is more hooded than the other. So what I'm looking at is basically near the inner corners of my eye. Okay, now on to the brows. I didn't do my brows for years. They were blonde, just didn't mess with them until here, I'd say the last couple of years. Now, I don't have a single gray hair on my head, but I'm getting them in my eyebrows. And I had a good friend to say, Michelle, if you pluck those, just the gray ones, you're going to end up with no eyebrows. So I've tried lots of different brow stuff, and I do tint mine. That's for another video. But when I'm in between tints, I like to use a powder. And I've tried lots of brow powders. Some of them are designed to just, when you fill in your brows, just color your skin underneath. But if you have grays, that's not going to do any good at hiding what you want to hide. So I looked up, I got to thinking, what about the root powder that's for touch-ups? That is designed to adhere to the hair. So I got this on Amazon. This is some hairline powder, and I got this in medium brown, but you can see it's kind of dark. I have some other that's a little bit warmer. What I don't want is for them to end up looking orange. So I go through and just kind of brush up, and I'm using an angled liner brush, and I like really thin ones. This one is just, I think, out of a perfusion set from Walmart. And I just go right along, filling in and making sure I'm kind of brushing up along the portion that's grown out since the last time that I tinted. Now, if you are close to my age, you know that as time goes on, hair starts growing like crazy in areas that you don't want, and not so much in areas that you do want. And I don't know why, but it does. And so to not have big bushy brows, I do trim mine every now and then. But what's very important is that I get them glued. And so my favorite thing to use has been, and it is the cheapest, if you have a Dollar General in your area, you can get this spiking glue that it's kind of like the To Be Glued brand. But then as a makeup artist, this is really big and heavy. And I wanted it in a smaller tube. And so I have found that Ardell makes this brow glue. And what makes it so cool is the brush. It is the white kind of gluey stuff, but if you'll look, it has bristles that are higher on one end than the other. And so I take the short end first and just go and brush through. Brush and then kind of pull over. And then I just take my finger and tap, tap, tap. And it's not necessarily a laminated brow look. It just holds everything down so that you don't look like old Albert Einstein. Okay. On to the other side. And sometimes I have noticed you kind of need those longer ones to fill in some spots if you're sparse. So the glue really helps to hold those down. Sometimes when you brush them straight up and you just trim straight across, then you look really, really sparse. So sometimes it's okay to let them grow just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to start with that short end, short side. And pat, pat, pat. I did buy some smaller tubes and attempt to fill them with from this larger tube. It didn't work really well. You're better off just going ahead and buying the Ardell Brow Glue in the smaller tube. All right, I have found a use for those balms that all the younger YouTube makeup artists say, I don't know why they designed these. They're so sticky. But I have found a use for them. Now, I can't afford the Jones Road balm yet, but I have this one by Revolution, and I have all the shades, but this one's in Sun-Kissed Nude. Here's what it looks like. And what I like to do is just take my middle finger, and you see my wrinkled up potato chip bag eyelids. If I just tap it right under the brow, right across, down into my shadow, it gives them, my lid, just a little bit of moisture and plumpness, and just looks better. You may not be able to tell, but I can in person. And it doesn't affect the wear. It just makes them feel and look a little bit more plumped. Okay, now on to the complexion, and we'll do concealer first. And one thing I like to do is hydrate my under eyes before I start. And so I'm going to use this e.l.f. highlighter stick. It doesn't have much of a glow, but it really moisturizes. So I like to do that before I even get started with my concealer. All right, and I have tried oodles and oodles of concealers. I have a lot that I like, but my very favorite is actually a drugstore brand for two reasons, and it's this Revolution IRL filter finish in the color C4, because I love my base to have a little bit of pink in it. Not orange, not gray, but kind of in the middle, a little bit of pink. Okay. And while I love the Angie Hot and Flashy Concealer Brush, I really do, this one, the little kitten paw, I have found several others that are that same shape in various sizes. And I will link those so that if you want to take a look at those, you can. The first one I attempted to get was the one from Sephora, and it is the number 71. And I had to get it on sale, and it was still, cheaper than Angie Hot and Flashy, but still good. But then I found these other ones. Let's see. This one is from Japonesque, and it, you can see, has that same shape, and I got it at Marshall's on sale, And then I got this one, which is a little bit bigger. And it is by this brand, and you can get it on Amazon. And I have another one. Yeah, still by that same brand, and it comes in this set too. So you get 2 sizes of that same shape, which is really cool. So I'll hold them all up. Let's see. This is the biggest one. This is the Angie Hot and Flashy one by BK Beauty. This one is the Japanesque. So you can see it's all about picking a quality brush that is in the right shape for you and with the right softness and density, that you do not have to spend oodles and oodles of money. Now, if you have it and you want to, that's great. And I support those gals who start those companies and do that. But not all of us can afford, $25 for one brush or $24. And even if it goes on sale, if you get it on Amazon, then you don't have to pay the shipping. But otherwise you do if you order it straight from BK Beauty. But I have to admit, I do love this shape. And so the one I used just then was this brand. Okay, before I go on with more of my complexion, I'm going to do some lip stain. And I love this by Essence. I love all kinds of lip stains like this because when you put them as your base, then when things wear off, they don't look like they're wearing off so bad. So when I do makeup for events where that makeup's really got to stay on, I like to start with a stain for the lips. All right, before I go on with the rest of my base, I love a good bronzer glow. I can't get out in the sun anymore. I can sure fake it. So this one by Physicians Formula. Some people don't love the scent. I adore it. I like to put it down first. It also has a little bit of a glow. And so now I don't have to be white and pasty anymore, even though I can't get any sun. All right, the foundation that I'm going to use today is by Maybelline, and it is the Dream Radiant Liquid. You can still find it. Saw it in a CVS the other day, but you can still find it online. My shade is number 30, Ivory Beige, because it has a little bit of pink in it. So I'm going to use a pump in my hand. And just to show you the difference between brushes, this is the BK Beauty A101 by Angie Hot and Flashy. It's kind of like a big kitten paw. It's that same shape. And this is by the brand that I showed you earlier. And you can see it has that same shape too. It's a tad smaller, but still works beautifully. I like to buff that into my hand first. And on occasion, I don't even use a brush. I am a child of the 80s, and we used our fingers. So I like that a lot too. And no tool can replicate the warmth of your fingers to help with blending. A little bit more. Have some lovely breakout going on. Yes, that still happens. For a while, I was like, I just wish I could deal with wrinkles. Just wrinkles would be fabulous. Lo and behold, I could deal with wrinkles and breakouts at the same time. And I also found this lovely illuminating skin veil on sale at a Ross by Stila shade Kitten. And I kind of like to put that on my lower jawline there. Now for places that still need to be touched up, I keep my Bare Minerals foundation, the original. Don't like to use it all over my face anymore. It really accentuates texture. However, used in small spots, it is wonderful for covering blemishes. Now that I have gotten a little bit older, I do like to contour. I like to play Rembrandt. You know, Rembrandt was famous for just utilizing light and shadow in such amazing ways. And my favorite way to contour is with this Milani supercharged cheek and lip stick. And mine is in the shade 160 Bronze Voltage. I usually go with the darker ones because they aren't as warm. I like to do my nose. This formula is so blendable. Now here's the part that's going to seem really freaky to you. And I saw the Alexandra Anel, I think is her name, talk about how to contour the jowls. Okay, and so I have these wrinkles right here. And some people don't have those, but I do. And here's what I do. I like to follow the wrinkle, go all the way underneath, wrinkle up on the other side. If you trace just the edge of your jaw, you still see that dip where the jowl is. If you do it this way, you don't. Also like to pull it down the neck just a little bit on each side. And she also liked to point out that you do blend under, but not in the space right underneath. If you do, it just doesn't look natural because the light really doesn't hit there. The brush shape type that I like to use for this, I got this. I know this brand Rock is pretty expensive, but I got this at Marshall's in a contour kit. So, but I know there are lots of brands that have the small brush on one end and the larger on the other, kabuki style. And so I start with the small end on the nose. See how blendable this is? Ugh, some contour sticks just aren't that blendable. And I take the other end also, because you don't have to be perfect with it. I want to blend it all in. And kind of go in circular motions near the hairline. It's easier if you have dark hair to blend in toward that hairline. If you have light hair, you have some silver or some blonde, woo, we have to be really careful not to get it on our hair. All right, and here's how we blend this trail in. First, I do kind of like to go down with it, but then kind of diffuse along the edge. And I don't go down there, I just keep it just right under. And then I do go across. but I leave that one space. It really is protected by your chin, and it looks more natural. Okay, now I'm going to move on to blush. My current favorite is this cream by Morphe. It's the Euphoric blush in the shade Hypnotized. And I have a brush that I like to use for that. I got it on Amazon. It's kind of angled. It's nice and dense. This is the brand name. And with the Morphe, I just like to dab it in and then hit the back of my hand to make sure I'm not going to get too much. And I do like to keep it up high. When I was a young gal, I loved to do my blush like over, right in here, because that's what I look like when I got in out of the sun, or when I was actually flushed. So this whole trend to keep it up high, love. And I've seen Painted by Spencer. He likes to come right up here next to your eyeshadow, and I love that too. If you haven't checked out Painted by Spencer, he's one awesome makeup artist. You need to check him out. Okay, now I'm ready for a powder bronzer. And my absolute favorite is this Milani, the Silky Bronzer, and mine is shade 2 Sun Kissed. And any good old fluffy brush will do. This one's just one that came in a nice kit from Walmart. And it's almost like a setting powder for me. You can do it when it's matte and light, or lighter than your natural skin shade. I've also been trying to educate myself on dark-skinned models and people, and it's so beautiful. And I want to make sure that I am inclusive and have every shade that I could need or mix to make perfect shades for all of my clients. All right, now I'm ready to set the under eyes. So I'm going to go back and get the brush that I used to do my concealer. I think I'm going to do the one that's just a little bit bigger. And one more time, just going to swipe and make sure that it's not sitting in any lines. Now, I found at a Ross some really nice Laura Mercier powder that is specifically made for setting the under eyes. However, I do want to show you, if you've bought anything from Miss A, shopmissa.com, they have these little things that are similar to the old Prism Libre powder. And they work really well, and they're $1. But today I'm going to use the Laura Mercier because it is my favorite, and just a little blending brush. I think this one was $1. This is a large blending brush from BH Cosmetics, so I got that off of the Makeup Revolution site. I think they purchased BH Cosmetics. I'm just going to lightly set, not too much. Don't want it dry. Dry, powdery, shows wrinkles and fine lines. All right. All right, now we're going to finish up with our lips. And I'm going to use a lip liner from Imco Beauty. And it is the one that's supposed to be the dupe for Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk. And this one's Cheeky Chat. Cheeky Chat. And I never go in all the way to the corners. I started noticing that, my mouth is downturned as I gain more experience in life. And so what I do is come right to the edge and skip down and completely avoid that area. It does make the mouth look a tad smaller, but it takes away the emphasis on downturned corners. And I love the lip liner because it helps make things more symmetrical. As I look at myself in this mirror, I see that one side of my face is stronger than the other. So I can kind of overline on the other side to help with that. And I'm going to use, for my actual color today, something by Mally, the Stay Chill High Shine Cooling Gloss. Okay. In the shade Blossom. And I got this at Ross. I think it was $3.99. And it is a gloss, but I like things super duper glossy, and I'm really loving these lifter glosses. And yes, I know you can find cheap lip glosses, but you know, every now and then when you put on something that's a smidge more expensive, you feel why it is. And so this is the lifter gloss, and this is the shade Sun, 320 Sun. And I like to go just a little bit on the Cupid's bow with the gloss too. We're almost done. My very, very favorite highlighter is the e.l.f. Jelly Pop. And I've noticed that you can't get it by itself anymore. It's always out for a limited time. Smells delightful. Smells like watermelon. And I have to be really careful with it because if you drag or even rub, it's going to take off what's underneath. However, this is the first highlighter that I wore and then noticed in the mirror later, oh, wow, you can tell that I've got something on. But it's not very obvious. It's not like, oh, Scale's trying really hard today. She's wearing highlighter to come in to work. I like to do the tip of the nose, Cupid's bow, the bridge of the nose to a little bit. I have one nice line in my forehead. Kind of like to go over that. In my mind, I kind of think it takes away from the line and makes it look nicer. A little bit on the chin. Just wherever the light would shine down and hit naturally. And my very favorite setting spray. And it's on sale right now for $3 at Ulta. Ulta is by Makeup Revolution, and it's the ceramide one. And it smells divine. I love it for the smell. It also kind of moisturizes too. Kind of melts everything in. So here we go. And I like to inhale because it smells so good. When I use it on clients, I kind of like it makes everything feel more luxurious, like you're being pampered. So this is my finished look using all of my favorites. I hope that you enjoyed it. Maybe learned a few tips and tricks along the way. If you have some tips and tricks for me, please leave those in the comments below. And I appreciate a thumbs up and a subscribe and ring the little bell. And we'll look at my wall. Together we have everything. Peace and love.